So, we are starting a brand new series on sharing the opportunity as a masterclass. We want you to master having um, confidence in sharing the opportunity. So, Artist, share some of your thoughts about what we want consultants to come out of this masterclass with.
So we want you guys to be wholeheartedly confident when you're in your appointments. You watch, if you're, in my unit, you watch me. If you're in Robin's unit, you watch Robin. If you're with Myra, you watch Myra. But sometimes you can look at us and think, oh, they just have been doing it for so long. They're just so good at it. But we weren't always so good at it. It took practice. And just repetition and doing it over and over and over again. And we want you to feel that same confidence. And I will even tell you, even after practicing it over and over and over again, I was still nervous, getting up and sharing my story and sharing the opportunity and just different scenarios where I would start second guessing. And we want you to just eliminate all the noise whenever you're in front of a face or a party, and you're just able to share what you love about Mary Kay with ease, without any pressure. Um, Almost like, you know, not holding what was it that Emily Schutte said last week, like without any expectations, like just go into it like this is what we do and this is just part of it, and not have any stress of like, I can't say this or I shouldn't say that, or is she judging me? But that's truly what we want you to walk away with at the end of the day. So
Yes. So, this series is going to go through first, we're going to spend two meetings on I stories and really nailing down what is our story in Mary Kay and how can that relate to other people. So that's what we're going to focus on today. And then we're going to move into towards the end of August, the sharing notebook and Mrs. Cab. And we're actually going to have an opportunity towards the very end of August to practice this. And so maybe you've shared at some of your appointments, maybe you haven't. Maybe you just simply want to learn more about how to share the opportunity and how to answer questions. But you're going to come out of this masterclass series really being confident about sharing, and you're going to hear it over and over and over again. Then at the very end of this entire series, which will be the first week of September, we will be going through the 4-point recruiting plan and how to like mesh this all together. The I story, working with a hostess, sharing the opportunity at the appointment, and then how it beautifully all ties in together to this 4-point recruiting plan that Mary Kay Ash uh, built and created herself. So for this week, I was telling the one unit earlier, if you don't already have a pen and paper, I need you to go find one right now because we're going to be taking notes. So if, you know, I would prefer you don't even do it on your phone. Like legit get pen and paper. So what we're going to focus on first tonight is the I story. Um, and I'm going to show you the elements of an I story. What's the I story? This is how you connect with your people that are in front of you. So, 5 elements of an I story. This should take no more than 2 to 3 minutes. The first one, what you did before Mary Kay found you. Artists, if you could type these major headlines in the chat, because I'm not sure how big this is going to show up on Zoom. Number one, what you did before Mary Kay found you. You're sharing a little bit about your life before Mary Kay, maybe your job, your dreams, the season of life you were in. Number two, why you got started. What led you to Mary Kay? What were you looking for? Number three, what almost held you back? What fears or doubts or obstacles did you have to overcome? Number four, Your why now. What keeps you going today? What are you doing this for? What impact do you want to make? And then number five, what you are reaching for next. What's your next goal or dream? What are you reaching for altogether? You want to be real and you want to be you. You want to be authentic. So, your I story before, why you got started, what almost held you back, your why now, and what you're going for next. It's very chronological, y'all, and it's pretty simple to think about once you get used to this. So, artists, when we're talking about an I story and what it should accomplish, I feel like the I story should really help the consultant connect with the customer or the guest that's in front of them. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely, because they need to see that it's possible. You don't want them to look at you as like an untouchable, or to look at the business as like, oh, it's untouchable. I can never do that. I could never do that. So you want to be relatable. And I think that that can make a big impact when somebody can see themselves in your shoes. So, um, if they say, "Oh, well, yeah, I did that," before, or that's what I do now, and they hear you say what you did before Mary Kay, or if you share that you have like um kids and you enjoy the flexibility that it gives, like those are things that are going to make you a real person and make them connect with you.
Hmm. It makes you genuine and not just someone that is just there that has great makeup and, is trying to sell them something. Like
Yeah.
your I story is helping break down the wall of, oh, they're just trying to sell me something. So we should be sharing our I story at every appointment, whether it is a party, whether it is an individual facial. Y'all, we can even share our story to other people when we talk about Mary Kay because it does make us relatable. When you're in an appointment, though, you should be sharing your I story towards the beginning. So after you go around the table and you ask the guest, what's your name and something you want to change about your skin, that's when I'm sharing, well, here's a little bit about me and a little bit about honestly what I do, why I love Mary Kay. And then I go into those 5 points of the I story because that truly is telling them about me and I want them to begin trusting me. Naturally, I'm going to tell them about having three girls and being married to a firefighter paramedic because one of the reasons I wanted to get started was extra money and flexibility. That's part of like it's all in there together. So when you're telling someone about you, incorporate these things. That is your I story. And it's different than just saying, oh, I've been in Mary Kay for 1 year and my goal is to get to my red jacket. Okay, let's take our oil-free eye makeup remover and get started. Like, who would you trust more? Someone that personally connected with you or someone who just went like straight into the product?
Mhm.
So,
The
um,
I story is a good icebreaker too.
mhm.
Sometimes I don't know about you guys, but has it ever felt a little awkward when you're in a room with a new face or a group of women that you've never met before, and you're just kind of like, okay, now what happens? The introducing yourself and giving your story as your icebreaker for the entire facial or the party. So it can kind of take that awkwardness out of the room.
Absolutely. And some of the quirky things that might be about you, like how I always say that I grew up on a farm and I wore foot cream on my face when I got started. That's part of my I story. And that makes someone else across the table feel like I can really do this. If she
Mhm.
started with foot cream and she's earned 9 cars, I can do this too. And so while you're not sharing the facts about Mary Kay quite yet, which we'll get to in another week or two, you're sharing a real life living success story. You might not feel like you're successful in your business quite yet. Does anybody feel like that? Like maybe you're not worthy to share your Mary Kay story yet? because as a new consultant or someone who, yeah, here we come. Sometimes, I mean, I remember feeling like that as a consultant. I mean, before I was a red jacket, after I was a red jacket, maybe I didn't feel like I had all of this Mary Kay success behind me that was okay to share, but I could share what Mary Kay meant to me and why I believed in it. And then I could borrow the stories of other people when I'm sharing the Mary Kay facts, like how I'm a part of a Cadillac unit. I'm just talking in terms of when I was a consultant. I'm a part of a Cadillac unit, a 500,000 Cadillac unit. And we are building a national area. Like those were legit things because as a consultant, Lene Tate, our national sales director, was my sales director. And so even even when you don't feel like you're worthy of sharing something, you have someone directly connected to you, aka your director or your national sales director, who you can share other things with. That's not part of your I story, but that can be put in with the Mary Kay facts. Your I story breaks that ice, as Artist was saying. So I want us to look at this I story piece again. And if you've not already written this down, please do so. Now, we're going to go one by one. I want you to type in the chat and then write down. We're going to leave the meeting tonight where you're jotting down your real, raw answers to every section of the I story. You're going to have a little mini, it's going to be messy, but you're going to have a mini I story by the time that we're done tonight. Part of this we're going to be putting in the chat. So, for the first part of the I story, number one, what you did before Mary Kay found you. Share a little bit about your life before Mary Kay, your job, your dreams, your season. Go ahead and type some of that in the chat. What you did before Mary Kay found me or found you. I love this. Unique merchandiser, Myra, barber wife, mom, Kathleen, middle school teacher for over 10 years, artist before Mary Kay. I work full time at a bank and I'm full time mom to two boys. Dawn, stay at home mom of six kids and cleaning business. For me, before Mary Kay found me, I was working full time, 60 hours a week, driving 1 hour one way to work. No kids. Now I have three girls. I felt like I had no time or money. Brittany, I'm still currently a mom of a little and a team leader at the plant that I work in. Monique, a full time caregiver. Callie, anxious and uncertain in employment and job seeking with almost no prospects. Y'all, do you see how what you just shared in the chat can break down barriers so that someone can see that you're a real person and relatable? Can you see that? Diane, I was working six part-time jobs and missing out on the lives of my kids and grandkids. Wow. If you have not written this down on your paper, do that right now. I'm going to give you a second to do that. Write this down, whatever you typed. Okay. I story point number two, why you got started. What led you to Mary Kay? What were you looking for? Let's put that in the chat. Why you got started, what led you to Mary Kay, and what were you looking for?
I'm going to also read Christy. She said, before Mary Kay, I was awaiting my disability decision, selling Tupperware. I have been an admin assistant most of my life. Love it, Christy. Make sure you write it down.
Artist, you want to read these this time?
Yes, I'd love to. All right, I got started for the 50% discount. Dawn got started for the 50% discount. Monique, to build my confidence. I love that. Um, Hold on, I lost some space. All right, Kathleen, I moved and went back to grad school. I wanted flexible part-time job and a way to be social. I knew leaving my old friends would be hard. Twana, flexibility to make income that would accommodate my family's needs. Brittany, extra money to help out at home and to learn how to use makeup and take care of my skin. Amazing. Diane, I wanted to start living and not just existing, being present, feeling beautiful. Yes. Robin, let me
I meant to
let me
say
to make
lead.
let to Mary Kay. All right, I wanted an extra $50 a week to pay for groceries, specifically steaks for my husband. I also had been praying for a positive side hustle rather than going back to waitressing. I love that. All right. Christy, Myra convinced me to come for a facial session and I fell in love with the products. I started for the discount. Callie, flexibility, security, Christian empowerment. Yes, love it. Myra, extra money, but then fell in love with the products. Now I want to share it with everyone I know.
Yes, ladies, again, if you have not written this down, please do that. Take a second right now and write this down. This is part two of 5 parts of your I story. All right, so what's next? Number three, what almost held you back? What fears, doubts, or obstacles did you overcome? What almost held you back from saying yes and getting started? Type that in the chat when you're ready. What almost held you back? Dawn said, the voices in my head telling me I could never do it. Twana, fear of talking to and meeting new people. Christy, money or lack thereof. I don't know how many people or many people to sell to. Monique, my circle being small and lack of confidence. Artist, being a busy mom with sports and working full time. I said I wore foot cream on my face and didn't know anything about skincare or makeup. I also didn't really like women because of the cutthroat corporate environment I was in. Brittany, not knowing a lot of people and great of talking and meeting new people. Diane, fear of failure, felt like I wouldn't be able to do it or sustain it. Kathleen, unfortunately, I've had a real lack of confidence and fear of failure that's held me back from trying something like this. But I kept trying and didn't give up. Myra, I watched artists do my first launch party. As I was sweating bullets, I thought there's no way I could ever do this. As y'all, a brand new sales director is just said this, okay? She was so good and I knew what to say and knew what to say and was very knowledgeable. But when I started using the products and talking about them, it's so easy to talk about them now. Wow. Okay. This almost held you back. I'm just like blown away because these are things that are objections. Everything that we just saw, what almost held you back, are objections that people sitting in front of us would say. You are already overcoming objections to the opportunity by sharing your I story. Do y'all see that? Dawn just said facts. If y'all see this, like put something in the chat. Like, yes, I'm seeing we're overcoming objections here. And it is really showing that it's possible to overcome. Like for if I put yourself in the shoes of being a guest and you're watching your consultant just share, I didn't have a lot of confidence and I'd never thought I could do it. But as I started to do it, I really built the confidence and I love the products. And now, I make the extra money. Like, wow, wow. They're watching someone that they can trust and follow. Dawn said facts. Monique, yes. Diane, 100%. Brittany, she's got to get ready for work, but good night. So glad you're on. Um, Dawn, give God all the glory. And Chrissy said, artist is really amazing at the party. Artist said, so are you. Absolutely, y'all. If you've not written down what almost held you back, take a second and write that down now. Okay, number 4, your why now. What keeps you going today? Who are you doing this for? What impact do you want to make? Like, why are you still here? What's your why right now? Because for me, I started for the extra money, but I've stayed for the flexibility and the personal growth. Type in the chat your why now. What keeps you going today? Why are you still here? It might be the same thing as why you started, and that's totally okay. Type these in the chat. Artists, when you're ready, you can read those out if you'd like.
Okay. I stay for the flexibility and it pays the bills. Dawn, my children, other single moms, and my inner child. Robin, flexibility, Christian friendships, personal growth, and yes, the money, of course. Monique, to build other women and men's confidence, spreading awareness about domestic violence. I started for friendship and fun, but found a deeper meaning. Now I'm using now I am using to have conversations with women about domestic violence. That's really good. Christy, I'm doing this for myself and uh, hold on. I want to continue to grow personally and professionally. I love to see the impact that it makes when a client finds out that one perfect product. Yes. The sisterhood and flexibility, empowerment and ministry, God calling me to, and money and incentives. Yay. All right, Diane, I am present for the first time in years. Mary Kay is so flexible for how it's changed my confidence. Awesome.
Wow. Wow. If you've not written it down, take a second and write these on your notes before we go to this last point. Take a second and write it down. All right, number five, the last part of the I story. What are you reaching for next? What's your next goal or your dream? What are you reaching for? What are you reaching for next? This one is exciting, artists.
Hmm.
All right, what are you reaching for next? Artist said, helping women make money and earning a pink Cadillac. Yes. Dawn, director and financial freedom, impacting other women to do the same. Christy, I would love to grow my customer base and make star consultant. Yes. Kathleen, build a team to share what I've learned and how I've grown from doing this business. I like to see how if it will inspire other people like myself. I said, giving God glory as I help women discover their potential while I lead my unit to Equinox and back to Pink Cadillac. Diane, having 8 TVs and starting DIQ. Woo! Monique, to reach other women to be able to reach for the stars and join the sisterhood. Yes, yes, yes. Y'all, by sharing this part, what you're reaching for next, that's helping to remind you what your goal is.
Hmm.
And it's giving vision for other people. It's not just like, oh, well, I don't want to join her team because she's not going anywhere. No, girlfriend, you're going places. You know what you're doing and what your next goal is and where you're going because you just said it, right? Um, Artist, how big do you feel like it was when you were sharing, like casting the vision, even as a consultant? When you would cast the vision of what your goal is. And now, of course, as a director, I mean, we cast vision, we cast vision, we cast vision, but people joined you.
Yeah, very impactful, because a lot of times when you're excited about something, everyone gets excited around you. So if you're in front of a consult or a team member, or oh, well, they will become your team member if you're that excited. Um, a facial or a party, and you're just excited. And you're like, yeah, my next goal is to get 8 TVs and get into DIQ. They're like, oh, I want to be a part of that. I mean, it's just when you start talking about it and then the people will feed into it and they get excited for you, then you get more excited and then you start to believe it more. And then they believe it. And it's just, it's incredible. It's incredible to just speak it out loud.
Mhm.
Um, Sometimes we can keep our goals to ourselves. So I really like that we did this exercise because not always do we want to be brave about what we're thinking about next or what where we're going. So I think that saying it out loud and being bold and putting it in the chat for everyone to see, it's almost like it's holding you accountable. Like, okay, I put it out there. Now I got to go for it. But definitely speaking it to your um, parties and your facials, it's going to come to life, especially the more you say it. That's why you should always be doing facials and parties. So you can always remind yourself of why you're doing what you're doing.
Yes. So if you have not jotted that down, this last one, go ahead and take a second and write that down on your notes. What are you reaching for next? Whatever it is that you just put in the chat, write that down. I am so proud of y'all because tonight you were vulnerable and you shared all of those different pieces of the I story. Let's review them one more time. I know I just took it down. 5 parts of the I story. What you did before Mary Kay found you. Number 2, why you got started. Number 3, what almost held you back. Number 4, your why now. Number 5, what you're reaching for next. Because you have identified this in the chat tonight and you've jotted it down, I'm trusting that you have written it down. Now you've thought through it and you know that it's possible. We've talked about this. We have encouraged one another. Um, and so your homework for next week is seminar. So this is going to be the week after. We are still meeting next week. But in 2 weeks, we're going to come back and you're going to hear me and Artis and Myra share our I stories. We're going to share it like a full flowing way so you can hear our I stories as sales directors. And then we're going to break out into little breakout rooms. We're going to pair 2 or 3 people, and it might work out with the number of consultants with the number of directors. I'm not sure. We'll just have to see that night. But we're going to do breakout rooms, and we're actually going to practice this at that meeting 2 weeks from now. And so your homework is to develop your I story into sentences. You now have an outline. You have a basic, real, raw outline of your I story where you've just bullet pointed it out. But I want you to write it in full sentences and then practice it for yourself or read it through. At least read it out loud 1 or 2 times because you need to have it no more than 2 to 3 minutes as you're sharing this. So it needs to be succinct and like ready to go because when you end up writing this out, one, by writing it, you're thinking through it so you're not adding things on the fly. Like we want this to be rolling off your tongue, just like Artist said, like this is natural. We want you to be to that point by the time that we're done with iStories. And you're not going to have to share your iStory in front of the whole entire group. It might just be 1 person or 2 people. And we're going to be able to give each other feedback, but it gives you a time to practice it, right? So that then you become more comfortable with it. So your I story is so powerful and it truly can break down barriers. You're already overcoming objections. You're already sharing the vision of how people will want to join your team. And so this really is step one of building your team, having that powerful I story. Kathleen said in the chat she loves homework. So yes, y'all, your homework is to develop this into sentences. Artist, anything else before we close out this evening?
Robin, I think you covered it. You guys practice it in front of the mirror, practice it while you're driving down the road. Like any chance you get to practice it in front of your kids. It's going to give you an opportunity to really hear yourself say it before you get on the meeting 2 weeks from now and actually share it with small groups. So I'm excited.
Yes.
And we'll be in seminar next Monday. So, yes, we're still meeting next Monday. You're going to hear from Myra. She's going to have some great information for you guys. So, be sure to tune in for that.
All right. Have a great week. Do your homework. See you later. Bye.